Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, how about giving this video a like and maybe subscribing to the channel to help us grow and perhaps even check our Patreon. Today I'm revealing something very exciting, a project that has been going on for, well, actually longer than the channel's been going. So without any further ado, welcome to Roaming Red Engines. This is my Coventry Climax fire pump. This thing was designed so that two burly firefighters can run with it through a field. The idea being that you can get this thing closer to the event if you can't get a fire appliance like dupes there, or if you need to pump water from, say, a big lake closer to where you need, this thing can suck up the water, pump it along closer to your appliance that can then do the actual firefighting. This thing is really useful. Now, Coventry Climax started way back in 1903 as Coventry Simplex, not Simplex, the loco manufacturer, and then became Coventry Climax in 1917. In 1930, they branched into water pumps and then firefighting water pumps and forklift equipment. And in 1950, they won a lucrative contract from the government to make a pump just like this, something that was portable and could shift a load of water. In fact, this thing at 3,500 revs can shift 350 gallons of water a minute, which is genuinely quite impressive. The entire thing is aluminium, and they were renowned from being able to be turned on and sent to full throttle straight away without causing any damage, which obviously when you're responding to a shout is very important. You don't have to sit there and go, hold on guys, just got to let the thing warm up before we can go to full shout. No, these things were designed that you just get there, turn it on and whack the throttle wide open and it goes. In fact, this was so effective that it could pump twice as much water as its closest rival. The FW, or the featherweight engine, had a remarkable horsepower to power ratio, so much so that it soon caught the attention of race car people. Because this was the obvious choice to go into cars when you want to go very fast and you don't want lots of weight. People like Colin Chapman wanted one of these and started putting them into cars. And then you had the FWA, the featherweight engine for automobiles. Now, this one is mine. And this is very exciting because this one, at the time of filming, well, I've had it running once. You see, behind me is Redruth, my Dodge G13 fire engine, which was built in 1986. And this was the third vehicle I ever acquired. Now, when I placed the winning bid for this machine on a well-known auction website, the seller had told me that they had been using it as their regular vehicle and that it was in fine working condition. When we arrived in Redruth in Cornwall, which is on the other side of the country to where I currently am, it was, well, not as bad as it is now because we removed lots of it, but it was in a condition not as described. And I and JM on Cars, who had come with me to go pick it up in our first ever adventure, were at the point of looking at train tickets to go back home again without that machine. It was only when I started opening the lockers and I found things like the aforementioned pump on board that I went ahead and bought it, because the price I paid for that thing was A, cheaper, including the diesel, than buying a ticket to travel back home to Suffolk, and also was the same money for a Coventry Climax pump, which dupes at that time was lacking. So basically I bought the pump to get that. But as you can tell from the condition of that thing, the pump was in a similarly dilapidated condition. And so, six or 7 years ago, having had it kicking around for a few years, it went off to my friends Neil and Nigel to their workshop to have the frame rebuilt and rewelded. And that is where the story ends until last week. You see, the Mid-Suffolk Light Railway said to me way back in December, "Hey Lawrie, will you be able to have a fire engine on standby for our gala over Easter?" And I went, "Yeah, sure, what do you want?" And they went, "Well, we need to be able to pump water in case, as we have 3 locomotives, the tank cannot keep up with demand that the engines need." And I went, "Yeah, I'll have it sorted by then." It's next week, guys. I have royally mucked this up. But just yesterday, I had the phone call completely out of the blue from my friend saying, "You know that pump that's been kicking around in our workshop?" And I went, "Yeah." And they went, "We've welded the frame up for you," which means Action stations, all hands on deck. I've got to get this thing back together again in a very short time. So, to the other workshop. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. So here we have a pallet, the Coventry Climax. Here we have a frame for Coventry Climax. The latest struggle was that this has gone the wrong side of the frame, so I had to battle to get this off, which is the water tank, because, you know, 4-cylinder water-cooled engine, so I can now slide the rest of this thing inside the frame. What bolt's on there? Whoops. Oh. It's done. It's kind of in. The hardest thing I think I've ever done. But it's in. This is the first time that this has been together. This came off Red Roof and then it came up here to be rebuilt shortly after I bought Red Roof. I haven't had this in my possession for like 7 years. But you know, things come together on LMM. I'm putting stuff back together again. And this might work, which will be the first thing I've taken that didn't work that I've put back together again. These bolts are not the originals. They were originally screws and I've thrown them away because I butchered one of them, I sheared one of them. One of them's 50% butchered and the other one kind of works. So instead of just putting bolts in because, you know, they work. This one, however, might be too long and I might need to cut it because it might be just about to hit the choke cable. This one was tight, so it might be cross-threaded. It's a bit of a tight fit. But I just don't care anymore. This is my choke. My choke cable is here and has seized, and this mechanism had seized, but bit of WD-40, now working. Coil. Where the pox does the coil go? Ah, well the coil goes there. That makes sense, and then the tank goes there. So this is the fuel tank for that goes underneath. However, this is this, which has gone, well, knackered. So I just need to zip this off and get rid of it. When we'd tried to make this run before, we'd concluded that the fuel pipe in the fiberglass tank was blocked and would need to be cut out and replaced. Easy job. I don't know what's wrong with that, that's fine that.
That's what the trouble is. And this bit here is all rotten bone up. That just went like that. Yeah. So we make another bit of
Do you need a hand? Oh, looks brilliant.
right? And if you look down inside, I don't know if you can get it on the film, but you can see the end of it, and it's right on the bottom of the tank.
Oh yeah, I can I did, yeah, it's just there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So now it's just fiberglass. I really want a bender. The thing I've done is I've repainted the straps. So they can now go underneath and come through like that. Power. Ignition. Well, there's no light. We'll lose those as well. No, got nothing. With no power, Neil set to work trying to restore life to the vintage electronics.
Lose power?
No,
Oh, you got light?
yeah, it's this connector.
Cool. Power. No.
That'll do. If you watch the point.
After reassembling and getting it running smoothly, I returned with it to the shed so that the following day we could finish a few bits off and give it its first real test.
So what are we doing, gentlemen?
I'm currently removing the longest bolt in the world that holds on this very thin panel.
Yeah, I did cut one of them down.
What?
Well, that one because it was poking into the water tank. I couldn't put the water tank on.
Well, are you sure that's a water tank? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
I have put this back together. I am very sure what does what. Thank you very much.
Where do you put the petrol?
In the petrol tank underneath. But we put that onto there, and then we put this onto here, and we carefully don't touch the two things together.
I like the way you're going for the way I was going to end up.
Oh yeah, you.
Just break
the
it off.
damn thing off.
We can now just. No, why don't you?
Oh, I see we've progressed.
Yes, he's ripped the button off.
Oh god, that doesn't move though.
Now, whilst this may look like mindless vandalism, the original Switch was well and truly knackered, so we had to replace it with a nice shiny new one.
You know when a job's going to be like, oh, we'll just wire a new switch in. Oh no! Oh no! I don't know where that went. It's down there somewhere now. Hooray!
That's the switch that goes on and off.
So that's
I
start.
haven't ruined it.
I'm just rotating it so it's. Yeah.
Yes, it fits perfectly.
It's perfectly.
Just ignore
The left one's connected to the right one.
When you're dealing with electrics, everything you need to be concerned about is that bang is bad, but bzzz is worse.
No, this means it's connected. That's good. Give it some throttle. Do we have any fuel? That's the question. Let's give it a second.
Oh. That's very smooth.
Right, let's go and see if it pumps water.
There's been a lot of talk about water in this episode, and water is frankly boring. And that's why me and the rest of the LMM team turned to Holy to make our water a little bit more interesting. And it's not just energy drinks, it's hydration drinks and also iced tea, which are frankly delicious. Now, many of you will know that Holy have been a long-time sponsor of the channel, and lots of you wonderful people have gone out and tried Holy for yourself and loved it. But many of you are yet to push the button and order some Holy. So I have a deal for you, and the blurb that they've sent me tells me that this is a once-in-a-year kind of deal. It's the Holy Starter Set Deluxe, so that's the one with all the little sachets in it. There are 42 sachets, including some of our favourite flavours, and that works out at just 18p a sachet. And how do we get to this magic number, I hear you ask? Well, for new customers, there is £10 off, and that stacks with the discount that's at the bottom of the screen here. So that means that's a massive 15% off your first order, which means if you've been thinking about it, now's the time to go and actually click the button and buy some for yourself. Because we find here at the channel that Holy is actually really good. It gives you that nice slow release of energy to keep you going throughout the day. And after a long day, really could do with that glass of Holy to keep me going. So, support the people who are supporting the channel, and go and try it out if you haven't already. And if you have, make sure you order some more because you'll know it's good stuff. Refreshed on Holy, it was time to go and test the pump.
Remember, 2 firemen can run with this through a field.
Run. Ow, 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 ow.
Go.
You need it. Wrap straight. Baby steps. Baby steps. Oh, my knee went wrong way.
Somewhere here and pivot. Pivot. Hit forward. You're going to have to go down to the slightly. Ooh. So I've never used this. This is the filter you put on for taking from open water to make sure you don't suck up anything too large, like
Children.
yeah, and put them into the pump.
Sharks.
Sharks are a real worry.
That's a worry.
We need the thing. Is there something in the thread?
Yes, there is.
I mean, that's a good seal in there. Look at that. That's not going to leak.
No. Not at all.
And that as well can come out.
Someone will fix this in the edit.
Hold that. Hold it by these two. Ready?
Yep.
Push down. Yep, good enough for me. And then we need to get the other one to this one. You've got to get that in a nice state. You've got to push in.
Come on, boys, there's a fire here. You appear to be pruning the...
Cool. Having made this short and easy walk down to the river, and apparently now having weightless arms, we've arrived at a bit of land that's owned by my landlord, and we're going to see if this pump actually works, because if it doesn't, we have a real problem. So I've only seen this thing run twice, I've only started on the bottom once, and I have never, ever pumped water out of it. It's going to be fine. I can't, it's not like pumps are complex, right?
Missed.
I heard that go in.
Oh, I'm not going down there.
You hold on to that.
Yep.
Plop.
So you can,
So you can actually chuck a bit more in yet. Pull towards you a little bit, Lawrie. That's got
We're
it.
in.
We're in. Somehow, maybe.
There you go.
Right then.
What we're trying to do here is suck water up into the pump, and we're trying to do that by closing a valve in the exhaust which creates a vacuum inside the long suction hose, which should draw water up from the stream into the pump.
I suggest we don't have perfect vacuum.
I think you're right. I think it's putting a load of air.
However, I think that's enough to say that probably works. Now the question is, what's all the smoke coming out of it?
It's steam.
Yeah, it is, because it's all gone.
Yeah, but so does that mean it's got head gasket or something?
No, I think it's from the...
When we thought about it, the water and steam coming out of the exhaust was what was being drawn up from the stream by the vacuum, so obviously the thing was sucking.
What have you just discovered?
What?
When reading the
I've read the
instructions.
instructions and read that this should be shut, so we should... This says, we do this, we pull the pumping lever, we prime it until we have vacuum. Once we have vacuum, we open that up.
Right, so we need to try again.
Yep. You happy and ready?
Somewhere, air was getting into the system and destroying the vacuum, stopping there from being a good flow of water to the pump. We had to find out where that air was getting in, so we went back and fetched the special tool which tightens up all the hoses correctly, and then tried again.
no fuel.
So back to the shed we went.
Here we go again. Right. 1, 2, 3.
What you can't appreciate from the video is quite how unbelievably heavy that is.
Quite heavy. Ow!
We were now pretty convinced that the pump would now work with all the hoses tightened up, and having filled the thing up with some petrol, we loaded it into tubes and set off for the Mid-Suffolk Light Railway so we could set up in case they needed it over the gala weekend.
Push that thing and
it falls out on you.
it is a little alarm.
It's quite terrifying, yes.
Before we do this,
Yes.
no, it's not side, don't worry about it. Push down on the things I painted. Do you like my nice string? I did a really nice job of painting it. Now it's
brilliant,
really
just there. Right, 3,
2,
2, 1. Right, I'm down. My back.
You don't need it, mate. Nope, that's not it leaking. Right, should we wander it over there?
Now we walk through, Dave.
Once we'd got it all set up at the railway, we still couldn't get a good enough seal to keep the water pumping. But then I had an ingenious idea.
Come on, brain. What is braining?
Take that off, which is my inlet. Take that off, we put that on the pump. We connect
Oh, and use one of those.
female end of this.
We'll use
Then
two
we
of
connect
those.
this
To that hose.
to that hose.
Yes. Because I assume that.
Take it off,
Yeah. Which way's off?
anti-clock.
Left.
Oh yes!
We've been here hours.
Not that long.
Good job, boys.
Oh no!
After all of that, it has come to the end of the Mid-Suffolk Light Railways Gala, and this pump has been used precisely. We haven't needed to use the pump. So after all that effort of getting this thing restored, back together again, tested and working and bringing it to the railway, we didn't need it. Now, this was always a part of the extra plan. The tank here at the Mid-Suffolk Light Railway, which we use to refill the steam engines, that fills quite slowly. It's basically just on a hose, and we had 3 locomotives running at this event. So the worry was that if all 3 engines needed to take water simultaneously, there would be insufficient water and it wouldn't replenish quick enough. And so this was the backup. But thanks to good timetabling and good planning, we didn't need to use this. On the plus side, there is a massive positive to this, is the fact that I now have this back together again, and this little carrier here on the side of Dupes now has something that goes in it. So there's nothing like some crushing pressure to make you actually do a job that you've been meaning to do for 6 years. With that, it's getting dark and it looks like that water is about to come from the sky. And sadly, I can't mix holy with that. So we're going back home. And with that, we've returned to the sanctity of the shed, with Dupes now being a completer fire engine with a Coventry Climax pump sat in the locker on the side. This is something that I have wanted to achieve for years, and although we didn't actually get to do anything with it, I'm sure there's going to be some more troubleshooting and playing around with this, but you'll see that in upcoming episodes as we try this thing out and see which of my hoses leak and what of my nozzles actually work, because we can now pump water, and that's genuinely exciting. So with that, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this adventure of taking the fire engine out and rebuilding this thing. Finally, this has been one of the longest ongoing projects apart from Red Reef itself, and it's good to finally, 9 years later, completed it. Well, mostly completed it because there's still stuff to do on this, like mini jobs, but yeah, we'll get there. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Excellent. Ta-da.